Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the Figma LUCINA figure, which is a long time coming. We've been waiting for this thing for quite a while. So let's take a look. But first, let's take a look at the package. Standard black bottom, kind of a beige color or number box, number 245, Nintendo seal of approval. Kind of a dull blue, kind of like a slate color for the border. You can see a nice pose of the figure right there. Same thing over here, and then some posing options on the back. Nothing too fancy. Alright, let's look at the figure itself. Now, I was thinking this was going to be one of the best Figmas to date, and for parts of it, I was right. For other parts, not so much. So let's take a closer look. She stands about 14 and a quarter centimeters. And about 5.5 inches. So size-wise, pretty much standard, nothing really special there. As far as accessories go, she doesn't have a whole lot. We do have 2 interchangeable faces, kind of 3, and I'll explain that as we go. So there's one of them. I'll zoom in so you can see. I'm not a huge buff on Fire Emblem. I honestly only got her because of Smash Brothers. So she has some kind of thing going on with her left eye. It's different than her right eye. But I guess that's supposed to be there because her alternate face, which is done just as well, also has that. And there's a little bit of blush on her cheeks here. So they did their standard Figma good job with the faces. So that's good. And then we also get this one, which you have to put the faces in, obviously, but it's got the little mask on there. And they did a great job with the details. It looks really, really good. So you can also interchange the mask part with the front of this hair piece. Let's zoom out a little bit. So you can swap out the front, so if you want the long hair with the mask, you can do that. I don't know if that's accurate or not. Like I said, I'm only a player on Smash. I don't know anything about Fire Emblem really, other than this is like the masculine version of Marth, I think. So I guess that makes sense that she has a mask and short hair. But you have those options. And then she has some interchangeable hands, as is normal for Figma. So we have the fist hands right here. Then we have our tree of other hands. So we have this one, which looks like she's pulling her sword out of her scabbard maybe, and then a gripping hand, kind of just an open relaxed hand, the style pose hands, another open relaxed hand, and another gripping hand. So that should be fine. She has her sword, which looks really nice. They did a great job, as they always do. Looks really good. And then she has the hilt of her sword, which is meant to be used in the scabbard on her hip. So if you want to put it on her hip, you simply look at the keys on the sword right there, and you can peg it in to place, which should be like this, I think. It's kind of hard to see in camera, but I think I'm going to get it. I hope I'm going to get it. Let me zoom out a little bit. And there we go. So once you snap it in, it looks like it's actually got the whole sword in there, so they did a good job with that. And the cool thing about this is even though it's on this loose piece, it's also on a peg, so it'll swivel and not get in the way of anything. So that's pretty good. And if you want to count it as an accessory, her cape comes off. So we'll get to that in a second. But actually we'll get to it now. Why not? You just take her head off like you normally would, and then the cape is connected by a peg, kind of like the Attack on Titan figures. So you want to pull on that, and once you get that off, the cape will come right off. So just like the Attack on Titan figures, it's got this little flat piece back here. Nicely detailed little emblem up here, and then the cape looks good. And each of these pieces is hinged. The way it's hinged though, it doesn't work as well as I would like, because this is hard plastic, so you can't just make the whole cape come up. You kind of have to separate them and play around with it. It's not bad, it works okay. It's just a little counterintuitive for some posing, but it's still pretty well done, and I like the way they did the paint job on the inside and on the outside. They did a good job with that. This piece, of course, if you want to leave it out, you can put this on her and then just use the figure stand that she comes with, the display stand, to peg through there. So of course she does come with that and the baggie. I didn't mention those because if you're a Figma collector you already know that, but she does come with the stand and the baggie. Okay, let's put the head back on. And I'll show you while we have it off the articulation. We have a ball peg going into the back of the head, and then the ball hinge in the middle, and then the straight peg going down for the neck. And that's the same for both heads. The neck itself is fixed, so there's no articulation there. And one of the things that bothers me about this figure is that the hair, these pieces are soft, which is fine, and it has one more soft piece here. This piece is very firm and it's not articulated, so that it does get in the way for posing some. And then another thing is the soft pieces are a darker blue than the main front piece and then the main back piece. You can kind of see it. It's a little more vibrant, so it throws off the look just a little bit. Paintwork on the rest of the figure is pretty spot on. You can see the two tones on the straps. All this gold line work looks really good. For the shoulder, we have our standard ball peg where the shoulder connects to the body. Then we have the ball hinge for the shoulder itself, a bicep swivel where that ball hinge connects. You also get a little bit of a bicep swivel in the elbow because it's just a straight peg, but you get better than 90 degrees in the bend, so that's a good thing. And then the wrists have the full-on ball hinge as well. One thing worth noting is the shoulder pads are connected by what I think is, it's probably just a regular peg, but it does let them move around so they won't get in the way too much. This piece is just a loose piece, so it won't get in the way. That's pretty nice. I can't say for sure what kind of torso articulation she has because it's all hidden. I believe there's a ball peg in there somewhere for the upper torso. That's what it feels like. And then we have our standard ball peg for the lower torso. Hopefully you can see that in there. It just, the whole thing moves around. And that's really one of the problems of this figure. It's really kind of floppy. It's not that good, that lower ball peg. It's not so much so a problem that you can't pose the figure, but it does become a bit of an issue. And then we have our ball pegs going into our hip sockets, so they move around on the ball peg, and we get a thigh swivel there, and we get a thigh swivel at the top of the boot cuff, and then we have the knee joint. Standard Figma knee joint. Her knees, to me, seem a bit knock-kneed. I don't really care for that design. I tried swapping out the lower legs, and it did seem to look a little bit better, but I don't know. Even if you look at the shape of her legs, it seems like they're on the wrong side. So maybe they were, and I should swap them out. It's not that hard. All you have to do is pull on them, and then you'll have to swap the feet back and forth also, because the feet are side specific. But if you do swap these out, I think it looks anatomically correct. It looks better. The calves look better, and the legs are less knock-kneed. So I don't know if mine are just put on backwards or if they did that or what, but that seems to look better to me. I don't know. You guys can let me know what you think. For the rest of the review, though, I'll leave her as she came in the package. And then we just really have to look at the ankles anyway. So let's do that. So the ankles are the standard Figma ankles. So we have just basically a peg going into the shin and one into the foot. They don't have the best range of motion, but they have probably good enough. And you can rotate around on that peg itself, the hinge peg, or you can use this ankle rocker that they did like that, which I'm not a fan of. I don't like it when any company does this. It's effective enough on a small figure like this, but it still looks pretty bad. I would rather just have a built-in ankle rocker built into the ankle hinge itself, because this one where the heel of the boot slides around, it really only looks okay when you barely use it at all, so it renders it useless. So I don't care for that too much. But it doesn't look too bad normally. I guess it's okay. So most of the figure's pretty good. It doesn't really stand out as much as I thought it would. I thought it was going to be a lot better, so I don't know. I'm going to leave it up to you guys, but it's definitely a fine figure. It's just not as good as I thought it was going to be, despite all of the nice details that are in it. There's just a few too many little things that are going to keep nagging at you, so it's really going to be a judgment call for you guys. So stick around here for the end, and I'll get her in some poses so you can see what she looks like. And make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.